Hola, beautiful souls. We are talking about the energies of May. And as you know, alignment has been a huge theme so far. Authenticity has been a huge theme so far for the year of where we are. And it just feels like everything is in this constant state or flux of refinement. So if we could even say anything beyond the alignment and beyond the authenticity and everything that we've been talking about, it is refinement. So this month you might really be looking at things either from that different perspective than you were before, like that element of letting go, surrender. I've been talking to so many people about this who are currently in these spaces of surrendering. And when we even talk about that, what does that mean? You know, it's a word that we could throw around, surrender. When you're not putting your hands up as in giving up, that's not what it means. However, there's an element of the letting go and the allowing in that process. So if we're in these spaces of refinement, which is for alignment, so could we say that? Like, the refinement is to become more in alignment. The refinement is aligning us ultimately beyond the labels, the roles, the titles that we've been having, the identities that we've been having, and really going into that purest state, like the spirit state, we could even say. And if you are going through these refining fires, really, if you're going through this purification process and the refinement, I know you know this, however, the holding on is going to become much harder, perhaps, than it has been. And some of you, like I said, were in this space of surrender. So the holding on, or the letting go of that which you are holding on to, has become maybe not easier, but there's been more ease. It's like this bro in the background. There's been more ease for that letting go. There's been more ease through the surrendering. There's been more trust through the surrendering, because when we're surrendering, it's really trusting. When you can't surrender, when you can't let go, you're so trapped in fear and not trusting, and that's why you're holding on. You're so trapped in fear and not trusting, and that's why you can't surrender. However, through the refinement, it gets to this place and space where it could feel like your back is up against the wall. It could feel like there's nowhere else to look, to turn. And when I'm saying surrender is not giving up, surrendering is getting out of the way. You, like, envision a Google map. You know the Google map where you have a person and you pick them up and you drop them on different parts of the map? So surrender is you removing yourself out of the way, moving out of the way, and allowing God, source, divine, you know, whatever, that higher power, whatever words you want to use. I use God, but like, doesn't matter. That higher pure source that we all come from, okay? So it's you moving yourself out of the way and allowing God, source, divine, to more actively be present and support you, right? There's that opportunity where you're saying, I need help. Where you say, I can't do this on my own. Where you say, I've been going this way, I've been doing this thing, and clearly I'm being guided in another way. I see and I trust and I know that I'm being directed in another way. So these are the conversations, or the thoughts that may be going on in your head. And when you surrender, it's being open to that. It's allowing yourself to truly be moved in the directions or put into position of where the divine is guiding you. And through that, though, once again, like we're saying, this month is about a lot of refinement, because it is going to involve letting go. of dreams, of desires, of perceptions that you've had, of beliefs. It will require you letting go of these old states of being, or the old, like I'm just using, you know, quotations, the old life, to become who you're being refined into, right? And to start to, because it's very complicated to have 2 feet in both worlds, you know, like one where you're just over a chasm and you have 1 foot in the way things have been, you know, the way things are, the way they've always been, and just what you know and what's familiar. And then on the other side of this chasm, who you're becoming, or who you're being called to become, or where you're being called to go. And think of, you know, if there was an earthquake, I'm just seeing like an earthquake, distraction, and that chasm, the space becomes further and further apart, and then you're being stretched further and further apart, and eventually you're gonna have to pick, though. Okay, you're gonna have to pick if you're staying in that old space and place that's familiar, or if you're going to allow yourself, or choose to become who you're being called to be, or go where you're being called to go, or you're gonna fall in the chasm. Like, this is not a threat. But you know, it's just like, you get to choose. That's the beautiful thing. But when you open yourself up to allow the divine in and to receive support, it might not feel so conflicting when you're on either sides of the chasm, so to speak. So refinement is the theme. If we had to pick a theme, like, could we just say like 2025 feels like a refining year? 2024 really was. I know I'll raise my hand. 2024 was a year of refinement for many of you, but 2025 is just like everything that's already been in this purification state, like this letting go to become, right? The letting go to become, everything that's been happening and going on internally, which is now being an external reflection. This just feels like the heat is getting turned up within the refinement to really burn away anything that is not that. So you could take comfort in knowing this is like, you know, the final burn. There will be more, though. Refinement is a process, okay? However, that like all that has been transforming in your life, in your world, it like internally first and then into the external, all of that has now been taking shape and form, and you are seeing it. Some of you are still in the chasm. That's okay. Oh my God. Like, we're human, okay? So some of you are still like being stretched into the chasm, but some of you are also seeing what's been happening in the refining process, in the transformation process. So if this month feels like things are getting a little like uncomfortable, you're being pushed more out of your comfort zone, and I hear some of you're like, what? Pushed more? Yeah. So if you are being pushed more, like, just know refinement is for alignment. Could we just say that together? Refinement is for alignment, and ultimately it's coming into being in alignment with God. Ultimately it's coming sorry, I'm just like blocking. Ultimately it's coming into alignment with God, source divine. Use your words, put in your words there, okay? So wishing you a wonderful, maybe it's gonna be a hot month, but wishing you a wonderful month of refinement. Can we enjoy it? Can we embrace it? And there might be tears. God, there might be tears, there might be screaming, there might be laughter. It's a mixed bag, the refinement process. It's a mixed bag. But could you, in those moments, embrace it, accept it, like allow the process to unfold, to trust the process as well? Love you. Mwah.